the best addiction I ever had was trying to find ways that opened up my tears. And because the very first time it happened to me, it was kind of like, oh my God, I was just so relieved. And since I've had thousands of experiences of being in one of those flashbacks where it's obsessive compulsive worrying,
Um,
what if this happens? What about this? And just jumping around in this terrible cognitive kind of pain. And I've had thousands of experiences of being in that place and having a good cry, and it just goes away. It's almost miraculous. It's like, where to go? And I've come to feel like grieving is so important because it's emotional pain, the pain of not being loved, especially by yourself. And when you can cry in self compassion for yourself, it lets out that pain, it lets out that fear, it lets out the shame. And it's like that the fear and the unreleased shame is like the emotional fuel of the negative thinking, the
mhm.
painful thinking. And to the degree that it's accumulated or unresolved, it just fuels that. And I so encourage people to grieve, and to the degree you can do that, and as your access improves, you've got this incredible, and this is one of the steps, flashback management steps.
Mhm.
You temporarily, at least, exhaust the fuel supply, and suddenly your brain is free to look around and go, "Oh my God, the colors look a lot better right now." And look at that bird. Well, how come I didn't notice that?
Mhm. Mhm. Well, something you just said kind of landed on me too, that grief of abandoning ourselves or the grief of not loving ourselves. And even though it's not something we've deliberately done, it's an effect of the trauma.
It's an effect of the trauma. Our
Yeah,
relationship with ourself is based on the relationship that was modeled to us.
right,
Yeah. This complex PTSD is also called developmental trauma disorder.
right.
And I like that as a secondary name for it. I like both of them equally. And in
Mhm.
my mind these days, I see the biggest developmental trauma is not being allowed to develop a positive relationship with yourself.
Right.
It's just the worst thing to there's no safety in there. There's
Mhm.
nothing but shame, judgment, worrying, and futurizing negative things happening. The good news is with practice and with the kinds of structures that I'm advocating, you can gradually reduce that. The bad news is it's painful to actually see it. Like, oh,
This is Lynn Fraser, your moderator. This year, our theme is Feel It, Heal It, a new paradigm of recovery, featuring a diverse group of thought leaders and innovators, people who are working on the ground in the new field of addiction recovery. Go to radicalrecoverysummit.com to sign up and watch free.